Hello, I'm Carolyn Mahoney, president here at Lincoln University, and I'm delighted to welcome you to From the President's Desk. This is the show where we take the opportunity to update you on activities and happenings, events at Lincoln University. Today I'm joined by an array of folks who serve or play on the women's basketball team. I'll start by telling you a little story. I love women's basketball. My husband and I have gone to the Final Four for so many years I can't remember. And I was pleased that both my daughters, several of my daughters, two of them played basketball in high school. They didn't continue on into college. But I also will tell you that when one of my daughters was in 4th grade, I was their basketball coach. They couldn't find anybody. I was terrible at it. I didn't give up my day job to do that at all. So I have with me today as guest our athletic director, Miss Betty Kemna. She's on my far left. And then we have the coaching staff and 3 of the players. What I'd like to do now is to have each of them introduce themselves. Betty, I'd like for you to tell them a little bit about your background, that you graduated and how long you've been here and things like that, and then we'll move across the stage.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Betty Kemna. I have been at Lincoln since 1989 when I started out as a student here. I graduated after playing softball here and a student assistant in the softball program. In 1996, I got my degree from Lincoln University. At the time, I was approached by the athletic director then, Mr. Ron Coleman, if I would take over the softball program here after being in the program for several years. I evaluated it and decided that it would be a good opportunity for me, so I started coaching softball here in 1997, was my first full season here. And over the years, I just moved right up the ranks, up to the AD position 3 years ago when Dr. Mahoney asked me to serve as Director of Athletics here at Lincoln.
I will tell you that was a great decision. I pat myself on the back all the time. I'm glad I haven't broken my arm doing so because it happens frequently. She's been a wonderful, wonderful athletic director for all of the program, but certainly when she hired the new coach, I took one look. It didn't take me long to figure out we had a real winner. So I'm just delighted that I can say that publicly and that they proved me to be correct this year. Okay, so we'll continue with the introductions, and I'll try not to interrupt too many more times.
I'm Vivian Essuon. I'm 21 years old. I'm a senior from Brampton, Ontario, Canada.
What do you play?
I play basketball. I'm obviously the center at Lincoln University.
Center, yeah. What position I should have said.
I'm Arriana Walker, and I'm 20 years old. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I am a point guard, and I'm a junior.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jackeya Mitchell. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm 20 years old. I'm a guard, and I come here to play basketball, and I'm a major in clinical laboratory science.
Oh, terrific. I didn't know that.
My name is Katie Vaughn. I'm head women's basketball coach, and this was our 3rd season here at Lincoln.
My name is Nicole Collier. I'm assistant women's basketball coach, and I joined Coach Vaughn 3 years ago.
And so what I'd like actually now is to have you, Katie, tell us a little bit about the program this year and the successes you've had. You can talk about previous years as well, but certainly culminate in what I consider to be a very successful season.
Well, it was. We did a lot of great things, obviously with the help of the players. It all comes down to them. We took on the program 3 years ago, like I said, and we took over. We didn't bring on, I think, 1 or 2 recruits. It was late in the recruiting process. So we didn't have a lot to work with as far as recruiting. We were in the Heartland Conference, which is different now. We are in the MIAA. Last year was our first season in the MIAA. We had a bit of a transition period there where we had to reevaluate the recruiting that we were doing, things like that. So this year was our first full recruiting class that we feel that we were the most successful, obviously, with in the MIAA, which is a very tough conference at women's basketball side. And we won 8 MIAA games this year. We beat a couple of ranked opponents, Pittsburgh State, who went to the Elite 8 this year. They did lose in the Elite 8. And Central Missouri State, who was ranked 22 in the nation at the time that we beat them at Central Missouri. So we've had a lot of different things that we did very well. We made a lot of goals at the beginning of the year that I thought we did a great job of accomplishing individually as well as team-wise, and obviously, wins and losses and all the way down to grades, keeping kids at a certain GPA, all those things. So, overall, as far as getting in the community, academics and the wins and losses, it was a very successful season for us here at Lincoln. That's really terrific. AD Kemna, you can talk a little bit about how many times have we been to the MIAA tournament and what our successes were this year?
This was actually our third trip to MIAA postseason. This is the first year, though, that we made it past the first round games. And in doing so, Miss Arriana Walker over here scored 39 points in that game, and that was an all-tournament scoring record. So congratulations to you
That's
over
terrific.
there. So it was a very successful season. I actually attended the tournament. It was a great experience. First time I had ever been to the postseason tournament, and the MIAA does a fantastic job up in Kansas City. So, beating Pittsburgh State after losing to them twice in the season, that was excitement. We had a lot of students that came up and supported us on Kansas City. Our Kansas City alumni were there. The band did a fantabulous job playing and everything. So it was a very enjoyable experience.
That's terrific. That's terrific. And so I'm given to understand that the two of you knew each other before you came here?
We did. We actually played against each other. I went to University of Central Missouri, and she went to Missouri Western.
Uh-huh.
So we played against each other with my senior year, her junior year.
Okay.
So 1 year, and then we both ended up coaching. I was grad assistant at University of Central Missouri, and she stayed on graduate assistant at Missouri Western. And then we kind of just kept growing up the ladder as in the coaching profession as you do, and stayed with each other.
Well, that's terrific. It's delightful to watch you coach. I don't coach from the bleachers at all. I don't second guess what you do, but I love to watch the interaction and your interaction with each other and with the players. I think it's just, as I said, a joy to behold. And I am intrigued at one of your comments about our students, that they're not just athletes, but they're student athletes, and of course that's very important to us in Division II. We really believe that Division II goal to have our students also be, our athletes also be great students. And I like to hear from the students about almost anything you'd want to say, but certainly about your experience with the coach and with the coaching team, and also with the study table that happens, or how it is that you manage to keep up with all of your studies and juggle all of your responsibilities and still perform so well on the field. So why don't we start with you, Vivian?
Well, being a student athlete isn't really an easy task. That's why they have study hall. And well, study hall is basically, we meet as a team and we get on our books because we don't usually have the time to always be on the books and play basketball and do this and do that. So it's always a hard task to
juggle all of that, manage it, yes.
So being a student athlete, it's a difficult task, to be honest, but we always try to do our best to juggle both.
That's terrific, and apparently it's working out.
Yeah,
So,
apparently.
yeah, it's apparent to me. How about you, Arriana?
The coaches do a good job of staying on top of us about our grades, and we all are here because we love the sport, and if we don't do good in the classroom, then we won't be able to play basketball. So that's a big motivation for us. So like Vivian said, it is hard to balance it all, but if you put in the effort and the time, you will be able to get it done.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you, so be ready. So what are you doing now that the season is over? How do you occupy your time?
8 hours of study hall.
Okay. How about you? What are you doing these days? This is so I should tell you that I was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. And so I was there a couple of weeks ago for their Founders Day program, and they think the world of you.
Well, to occupy my time while it's postseason, I would just feel like we just need to stay on top of our work and work out and just get better for next season because we have many more goals to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Do you work out in the new facility?
Sure.
Okay, that's terrific. That's great. Well, so this has been a great conversation. It's, as I said, a big thrill for me. What do you have in store for the future?
Well, you know, obviously we have to replace some kids. Vivian Essuon is a senior, so we're going to have to fill those big shoes that she's accomplished a lot here at Lincoln by averaging a double-double. She set some records here and there. So, you know, we're out recruiting right now. We're trying to bring in players, obviously, to replace some of the kids that we will lose, which is going to be about 4. And then postseason, like Jackeya said, we are getting in on the weights in the new facility that is phenomenal and obviously accommodates the athletes very well and is a great addition to our athletic department. And using our strength and conditioning coach, which is also a very awesome thing that's been added, is being able to utilize them and him and not have to worry about it ourselves. So we are doing that starting today with weights and conditioning and on-court work. We can only work with them 8 hours a week. So that's where we're at, and we can do that up until the week before finals week. So between basketball, again, we're practicing, and schoolwork, they're just as busy as they are during the season. So hopefully they can manage it well. Like they said, it is tough for them, but they do a good job of it, and we just need to keep reminding them of why they're here and keep them on track. But finals week is right around the corner, and then they'll have some summertime to enjoy a little time off and keep conditioning, keep working, but get better for next year. And that's our goal, is to take the girls that are coming back and just build on what we laid a foundation this year, and we've just got to build on it for the next following years and bring in recruits that want to help us do that.
Sounds like a great plan. Sounds like a great program. I've enjoyed having you all on today. I want to thank you for giving us some of your time, and I would encourage anybody in the viewing audience to send us your questions and comments about this team. I hope some of you have had the experience to see them play, and we look forward to great success next year and in the years to come. Thank you very much. Bye now.
In America, you are not required to offer food to the hungry or shelter to the homeless. There is no ordinance forcing you to visit the lonely or comfort the infirm. In fact, nowhere in the Constitution does it say you have to provide anything for anybody. Thank you for all you've given. Imagine what more could do.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Mahoney, president here at Lincoln University, and I'd like to welcome you to From the President's Desk. Most of you know by now that this is the program where we take the opportunity to bring you updates on things, events, and happenings here at Lincoln University. I'm delighted today to be able to talk about some of the programs we have funded that will serve the military, benefit and serve the military, funded by the Department of Defense, and provide research opportunities for faculty and students, improves the infrastructure on campus for scientific and research and study, improvement of our classrooms and our laboratories. And I have here with me Dr. Jim Rooney and 2 other colleagues who will talk more about the programs we have. First, Dr. Rooney, I'd like for you to introduce yourself, tell people how long you've been on campus, on faculty here, and sort of what you do, and then segue into talking about some of the programs. We have quite an array, but we can't discuss them all.
I'd be glad to, Dr. Mahoney. I'm actually in my 33rd year at Lincoln University.
I'm not even 33 years old, so you've been here.
I am a biologist by training. I'm a professor of biology on campus, and I've been working though with the DoD Programs Office for about the last 5 years or so now. And we do have a lot of things going on. One that we don't have people here today, but I do want to mention our suicide prevention program on campus that Dr. Baugh manages, and very successfully so. And it is doing a great aid to the military right now in actually being able to bring down the incredible suicide rate that the Army is experiencing. So it's been wonderfully successful. A couple things that we have going on otherwise though, and I'll refer to this in a moment with a couple of my colleagues, we have a program where we are supporting with signal processing and algorithm development, a major platform development by a company down in Florida called Alakai Defense Systems, by analyzing many of the signals that are coming out of their system and signal processing and data fusion and algorithm development, relating though to standoff detection. It's a laser-based system that we are capable now of actually picking up trace explosives on doorknobs and things of that nature at 50, 75 meters away. And that is well out of the range of hurting our soldiers, so that's wonderful. And that's going along very well. It's a major project, and we've got about 5 or 6 more months on that one. We also were very fortunate just about December of 10 to actually win a contract down at Fort Leonard Wood, where we're providing the instruction in a major school operation down there, the Prime Power School. And it is the cream of the crop in enlisted personnel taking training at any of the posts around the country in the military. They learn the basics of power operations and generators and all the circuitry. When they come into an area like in Afghanistan, they're responsible for setting up power for the troops once they're there. And we teach the math and physics and basic engineering concepts for that course, and it's now in its second 5-year operation. I'm delighted to have with me today a couple of individuals that work on particularly on the Alakai project I was referring to. Mr. Michael Rush is next to me here, and he is an engineer that has spent many years before coming to Lincoln with General Motors as a research and test and design engineer there, and is all but a dissertation for his PhD in computer science, and also has a undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering. And next to him is Mr. Greg Pierson, who has been here with us now about 2 years and is a mechanical engineer graduate out of Rolla, and we are delighted to have him here. He has rather a unique experience of being on 10 different projects before he ever got his bachelor's degree.
My goodness.
The PI on one that was funded very largely, and we are thrilled that he is here. He's going to be moving over into our agriculture area as a support engineer there very soon as well. But we did take yesterday with the staff here a short video of the Engineering Protocols Support Lab, as well as some of the robotics high school competition work that in particular Mike Rush here has been involved in. And so we'd kind of like to show you that little 2-minute segment there. Then we'll turn it over to them, and you can have the rest of the day with them. So they're delighted to talk with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Great introduction.
This is the Engineering Prototyping Services Lab, in which we provide mechanical and electrical engineering support to facilitate researchers' projects that they may have going on campus. We have quite a bit of equipment in here, drill presses, saws. We have a end mill here, as well as a engine lathe, and then we have welding stations. The shop is capable of producing quite a bit of research apparatus, brackets, assemblies, whatever may be needed in support of the research going on. Largely this was supported by Life Physical Sciences. Dr. Jennifer Benny was kind enough to give us a substantial amount of money to actually equip the shop, get it into operation, and begin producing different systems for different researchers around campus.
Hello, my name is Mike Rush. I'm a new faculty member here at Lincoln University, working for the DoD Programs Office. We're actually, one of the things that I've been doing for quite a while is working with high school students, trying to teach them about science and technology through the use of competitive robotics. And so this year we started here at Lincoln. We're supporting a FIRST robotics team, and this is their creation from this year. which is intended to, compete at the St. Louis Regional. We actually competed at the St. Louis Regional and seeded 19th out of 42 teams. The objective is to pick up these orange balls. They're kind of a foam type orange basketball, and the ball gets picked up by these two large rings as they rotate, and it gets placed up here in this little settling station, and then this arm comes around and throws the ball into the basket. There's also an arm right here, which there's some bridges involved in the competition where you can go from one side of the field to the other, and it pushes the bridge down so that you can drive over the bridge. First is intended to teach students about science and technology through the practical application of actually constructing a device which they can actually operate during the competitions.
Well, what a delightful 2.5 minutes we just spent together. I think we'll start talking about the robotics program because I think that's more interesting to viewers, and because that's the one because it was most recently shown. I was intrigued to see that robot shoot the basketball. And so I'm a little bit incredulous. We had what age students built this robot?
Well, they're generally high school age students from about 14 years old to 18 years old. And they basically have 6 weeks from the start of the competition, which is usually in January, to design or conceptualize, design, build, and use the robot that they have decided that they want to make.
That's fascinating. I have gotten many reports. The people who are on campus early evening have seen the robot outside, and the students gathered around, and so they are, Madam President, what's going on out there? So it's getting lots of notice, I think, by people on campus. That's really terrific. How did you recruit these students? How did we come by the students who worked on this?
Well, actually, when I first came to Lincoln, one of the things I wanted to do was to start a robotics program here, and I got into contact with 4-H, and 4-H and JCPenney were coordinating to start these types of robotics teams. And then so with a grant from JCPenney and 4-H, we actually got the money to start the team. And then through 4-H, the students were recruited. So that's where the students came from. Mm-hmm. The other thing is we actually had just competed at the St. Louis Regional.
Oh my.
And we seeded 19th out of 42 teams. And so there is another competition, if people are interested, that there's the national competition, which is being held in St. Louis this year. It's actually April 25th through the 27th at the Edward Jones Dome.
Will you compete in that?
Actually, we are not going to nationals. We didn't do well enough in our regional competition.
So it is a regional and then a national. I didn't know if they were different, separate competitions, but well, this is the first time out.
This is our first time out.
To do that well, I think is noteworthy. Congratulations on that.
And congratulations to the students. They did a fine job.
I was just going to say, I think those students will likely continue their interest in science, and we know that there is a national shortage of persons who are interested in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and I think we have some budding young scientists in the group of students that you've done such a fine job with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for that. We're glad that you're here. And then, Greg, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the MTDI, if we will use the military jargon. What I like most about the description that Dr. Rooney gave is that it's standoff. That is to say, for example, we all have this picture of a vehicle moving through a military checkpoint. And often suicide bombers then will get right up to the person who is staffing that military checkpoint and set off a bomb or something. And so that if we can detect that, if there is a bomb much sooner, so that the person who's manning that checkpoint station doesn't get harmed, or in any other situation, if we can be alerted, I think that's just marvelous. So why don't you elaborate on what we're doing there with Alakai?
Absolutely. As Dr. Rooney was talking about earlier, MTDI is the multi-threat detection initiative. And this standoff laser-based system really gives the soldiers the ability to sit back 25, 30 meters and farther and detect trace and bulk explosives on the surfaces. Therefore, if they're at a vehicle checkpoint, as the vehicle pulls up, they can halt the vehicle, shoot the laser at certain areas on the vehicle that may have some explosive residue, and it provides a signal back to the user that there is, in fact, an explosive on the surface or not. From there, the military can take the appropriate actions. Currently, it's incumbent upon the soldiers to actually approach the vehicle, get within what they call the blast radius, and interview the driver, look for different cues, and eventually find out whether or not that they are a threat. This technology is really going to enhance the warfighter's capability by being able to stand back out of harm's way, detect these explosives, and then do what they need to do.
That's fantastic. And, you know, for a campus who has such a rich history of involvement with the military, having been founded by veterans, we really appreciate this work. In some sense, it's our way of thinking about giving back. And so I want to thank all of you for joining me today. And I think our viewers, if they have any questions about anything that we've talked about today, we certainly do welcome you to contact us. This is, as I said in the beginning, just one of many programs that we have, examples of the very fine work that we do in this arena. Not only does it enhance the military, but it helps us as a campus to move our students through to careers. Again, thank you for joining us, and we'll have to say goodbye now.